Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, today I'm going to try to connect the dots. What happened with Bitcoin yesterday is very interesting, right? Came out of nowhere and people are still trying to guess what happened. But today I'm going to connect the dots because I found an interesting correlation between two companies that I know you guys have heard of before. So let's talk about that and what else is going on in the world of crypto. So, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media on CryptosRUs.com and on my brand new channels. Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome, 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 guys. Today's going to be a good one, although Bitcoin is still struggling to come up from what happened yesterday. And man, we had a big drop off right here. You could see someone dumped on the market, caused a lot of fear. Now we're kind of recovering from that, but still way lower than before. We're around 21,000, right? So what exactly happened yesterday? That is what I'm going to try to kind of figure out. Now, of course, some people say, well, this is just normal, right? Like TA predicted this. I'm not quite sure. And some people say, well, of course, it's due to inflation. So we did have Fed minutes come out, but that was on Wednesday. So the Fed is still saying they're going to remain hawkish, right? But after the Fed minute, nothing happened. It's not like we had an immediate crash after it came out on Wednesday. We didn't have an immediate crash on Thursday either. So it came out on Friday. So even though the macro conditions, I think, have not improved all that much. We are coming up from the bottom and things are getting better, but we're not like totally out of the woods yet. So I would say the macro conditions still a concern, but I don't think it explains what exactly happened yesterday and what caused the cascading effect, right? So what did happen though? All right. So, I was thinking, and some of you guys have brought this up too. With what's going on with Celsius, obviously is not a good situation, right? So I was thinking, maybe it's due to this. Celsius Network cleared to sell mined Bitcoin to fund its operations. Celsius recently, of course, declared bankruptcy. They are about $3 billion in the hole. They have very little money to operate even right now. Right? So even while they're in bankruptcy hearing, they're going to run out of money in approximately 2 months. Okay, so they've been begging the courts to allow them to sell their mined Bitcoin to pay for its operation while they go through restructuring. And the courts allowed it. Okay, so I was thinking, is this the reason for it? I mean, is there enough? How much do they actually have in the first place, right? So I was looking back. It turns out they have over 80,000 mining rigs. So within a very short amount of time, they bought a ton. They bought 80,850 rigs. They have 43,000 in operation. So they have only half, pretty much, a little bit more than half that's in operation. The rest is just sitting there. So probably they're going to have to liquidate that, right? And they were expected to go up as high as 120,000 rigs and generate 10,000 coins by the end of this year. That's what they were anticipating. Now, did they really get there? Well, I started to do some math because it says in here, how much did it actually mine? Back in July, they mined a total of 432. So, I mean, they're nowhere close of hitting their 10,000 projection. But if you do the math, 432, just to be generous, let's say going back, this is July, going back June, May, and go all the way back to January, let's just say they were mining 450, 500. You're talking about anywhere between like 3,000 to 4,000 Bitcoin, all right? Now, that's this year. Now, according to this other article, it says in 2021, Celsius mined about 3,100 Bitcoin, right? So if you do the math, it's about what, 7,000 Bitcoins? Right? And 7,000 Bitcoin comes out to be about 160 million-ish around there. And you would figure 160 million should not do, if you dumped it, it should not have any effect on Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's hundreds of millions, right? So, or hundreds of billions, excuse me. So really, it should not affect it, right? But here's the thing, though. All these big purchases that we have seen in the past, Like if Michael Saylor buys like $200 million of Bitcoin, or Do Kwon before when he bought however much Bitcoin he bought, right? They were all done OTC market. They weren't done on a spot market. So if you did have, let's say, close to 200 million of buy volume or sell volume on spot, it could have a very different effect than if you're doing it on OTC market, which really has no effect on the market because you're essentially doing it off the order books, right? So putting one and one together, if Celsius wanted to sell their 7,000 Bitcoins, about 170 million, right? Where would they sell it at? So, there's rumblings about how FTX spot has been like kind of the go-to place, right? Go-to place for sellers. So some people I threw out charts before, and I'm like, okay, is it legit? So I decided to do some digging and looked at what happened exactly over here, right? This right here. Someone obviously dumped right here. Where did the majority of the volume come from? Was it really from FTX? Well, let's take a look. I pulled these up on CryptoQuant. So looking at Coinbase, of course, one of the big exchanges out there. If you look at the Bitcoin spot volume at that point, was only about 3,500. So not much at all. So most of the what happened was not on Coinbase, right? That's about $3,500 worth of sell on Coinbase Pro. So basically, no one's selling on Coinbase. Here's one from Binance, the biggest exchange out there on earth, right? None bigger than Binance. And their total volume was like 30,234. So again, on the biggest exchange in the world, the volume is nothing. No one at that time was trying to sell Bitcoin, right? At least not to USDT, right? That's what this is measuring. But you know where the volume came from? FTX. FTX spot at that point, 170 million. Do you see the difference between spot FTX and Binance and Coinbase? So obviously the selling was done on FTX spot. And what did I just talk about? How much did Celsius have to sell? Roughly 160 million, 170 million. And what was the volume on FTX spot? 170 million. So putting two and two together, did we just have Celsius dump 170 million worth of Bitcoin on spot FTX? And that's what caused it. Days after they received okay to sell their Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin. We don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but the two numbers are very, very, very similar within a very close proximity of each other, right? And let's not forget that not too long ago, there was a ton of crypto sent to FTX from Celsius, from none other than Celsius. So Celsius may have already a lot on FTX, and maybe they only sold what they were given okay to sell, which is how much they've mined, right? Which is why this could have been done on FTX because they already had the crypto on FTX. See, you put two and two together, right? So right now, my best theory, and this is complete speculation, I can't prove this beyond what I've just shown you guys, that this was probably caused to a massive dump on FTX and could have been Celsius. Okay, so that's trying to put everything together. Now, after the fact, obviously, after this happened, you see a lot of downward movement, right? We went down as low as 20,800. Now we're recovering a little bit, 21,000, right? So obviously that was not the only thing that happened. This kind of spurred a lot of liquidations, a lot of panic selling and so forth, right? Yesterday, if you look at liquidations, one of the worst we have seen since Three Arrows Capital's liquidation back in June. We had close to $600 million in longs liquidated. So it's a rolling thing, right? So like you got a few liquidated and more liquidated, and then it's a lot of sell pressure. So it's not just now 170 million sell pressure on FTX. It's 600 million more from the derivative exchanges, right? And then you have other exchanges too. So you add it up, it starts adding up, right? So obviously not a good situation. There's still way too many people playing with leverage, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this will ever get fixed because people are greedy, right? In fact, you know what's funny is because I was looking at this too. This also came out yesterday. The number one, according to the Binance, according to FTX CEO, the single biggest ask of our customers is to add derivatives, to add leverage, right? I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that is actually the number one demand, to add derivatives, to add more leverage to an exchange, or quite simply, FTX and others could take advantage of people getting liquidated because they're going to get fees no matter what, right? So that's just the irony of the whole thing. What we're saying, this came out yesterday on a day when we had 600 millions of longs liquidated. Interesting, right? Interesting. All right, so that's connecting the dots on what happened yesterday. Obviously, we're down a little bit. We're down significantly, 10% from our recent highs, right? But we're not down to 17K. Of course, all the bears are still coming out, right? Again, saying, oh, it's done, it's over, right? But I've been telling you guys, be patient, continue to hodl, focus on the future. We will get through this. There's still a lot of volatility going on, still a lot of games. A lot of these bankruptcy hearings are still ongoing, right? So who really knows what's going to happen? The macro conditions are still an issue, right? But we will get through it together. So stay strong, all right? Now, the other company that is going through bankruptcy right now is Voyager. And I'm glad to see that, the depositors, the customers of Voyager is telling Voyager no, because Voyager wants to pay around $2 million. And this is not just salary, this is bonus. Voyager wants to pay $2 million worth of bonus to 38 employees that they call essential. Okay, again, this is bonuses. This is not salaries. I can understand if 38 employees is still working, 10 hours a day trying to get through what they're going through. That's fine, right? They're still working their butts off. But this is like a bonus on top of that. Again, I don't know how you could sneak this in or slide this through without causing an uproar. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? It's like if Celsius, requested to pay $2 million to Alex as a bonus because of what he's going through. I mean, you just can't slide that through. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? But yes, I'm glad to see that's being shut down right now. All right. So onwards, what else is going on? Well, you look at people, I mentioned about naysayers, right? Peter Schiff is, of course, bragging about how he told people to sell, right? And it's not too late to sell. The Peter Schiff indicator, whenever there is some kind of fall, whenever there's a lot of fear, Peter Schiff comes out and tells you it's going to get worse and sell. And every single time, what happens, we usually get a reversal. But there are a lot of people looking at the 200 weekly moving average as well, right? Utilizing that as a support. So here's an interesting, kind of like a trend line, right? Are we going to utilize this as a support, or we go bounce from it, or we go drop below? So there's a lot of technical people that's really looking at what's going on with Bitcoin in terms of, the short term, right? But there's still a lot of models out there, including this one. This one is looking at the hash ribbon. And the hash ribbon basically looks at, this is actually a good look at the miners, whether or not the miners are selling, capitulating, or they're buying based on profitability. And you could see that the last time we went through this in a major way was back in 2021, but also we saw it in 2020 and previous time in 2018, some of our local bottoms, right? But you could see we just kind of went through that, and now it's a pretty good time to start accumulating. So there's still a ton of models that is showing Bitcoin is doing just fine. You could argue its strength has never been stronger than now, right? So that's why I tell you guys, stay strong. Focus on the future. And while there's still volatility, of course, there's just a ton of whale buying. So this is not just whales. This is like all sea creatures. Dolphins, sharks, whales, anyone between 100 to 10,000 Bitcoins have started to buy from the bottom, right? It's still, it's going up and down, not like a crazy linear up, but you can definitely see since our 17K bottom, even till now, you have a slow trend line going upwards. There are a lot of whales that are accumulating, right? Not as high as before, but they have started. And for SHIB fans, good lead into SHIB. SHIB seems to be doing well recently. Meme coins overall has been doing well recently. So whales grab another 400 billion of SHIB overnight. There are some really wealthy Ethereum whales that keep buying SHIB. Whenever SHIB goes down, they buy it. Even when SHIB doesn't go down, they buy it. And on top of everything else, you know, the burning and stuff, it's having an effect. And Dogecoin has been doing well because there's other layer 2 that came out, Doge Chain, right? So meme coins are coming back. And I've said that's a good thing because it shows retail investors showing more confidence and coming back into the space, right? So that's good too. All right, what else is there? Solana opens its physical store in New York. I don't know if any of you guys are in New York. Go check it out and tell me how it is. This reminds me a lot of another project, one that's part of the XRP educational video I've been showing you guys, that try to do the very same thing. They try to do it in Japan, and I don't know if that store is still open, maybe, and try to do it everywhere else. And it turned out to be a horrible, horrible decision. So hopefully this does not turn out to be a horrible decision and a money waster for Solana, but we will see. What else is going on? Socios and Chiliz, they get regulatory approval in Italy, so that's a pretty big thing for them. They have been doing very well recently, making a lot of partnerships, right, and now getting approval in Italy to operate. That's going to be absolutely fantastic for them. Gemini is rolling out staking for Polygon and others, and this is no surprise. I mean, a lot of exchanges started to list, basically pass on staking rewards to users, right? So they're not the only ones. Binance also has this, and several others have this as well, but it's good for Polygon. And lastly, if you are a Bored Ape Yacht Club holder, unfortunately, the floor price keeps dropping. It's at an 8-month low, going down to January prices, but still it's ridiculous at 65 ETH. But the good thing is, since ETH is worth less now, you could actually pick one up for way less than before. But still, you do the math, it's still 6-figure plus, so it's still quite expensive to buy. However, if you're looking at a floor price and you're looking at what ETH is worth now versus when it was like, you know, $5,000, you could buy one for a pretty substantial discount if you're looking to buy one. But recently there's some controversy because the floor price dropped. There is this other company called BendDAO that allows you to put down your NFTs and, you know, take a loan against them, and a lot of them are facing liquidation. So hopefully that doesn't turn out to be a big debacle too, because we just haven't seen anything like that. You know, this reminds me, my good friend Joel, he's really into basketball cards, and there's companies now that does the same thing, where you can send your cards, they will hold it, they will value it, and they let you borrow against your cards. But here's the thing, and he's starting to do this, he holds some of these crazy, really rare cards that it's really hard to evaluate the price, like get a floor price, because no one is ever selling these very expensive top-end cards. So he was telling me about this. I'm like, no, don't do it, because if the floor price drops, then you're going to be liquidated or you have to put in more margin. But with basketball cards, for sports cards, there's so little volume. Like, you can't even see the price drop, right? Like the modern cards, yes, but the older cards, there's no one selling. So it's actually, I was thinking about it, it's probably a very low risk for something like that to be liquidated. But, you know, many people probably thought the same thing about these Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs, because they're thinking, oh, it's not going to go down. Well, it did. But there's a lot more volume to this, though. I don't know. Just something interesting I thought I'd share. All right, guys. That is it. Now let's do some Q&A. All right, this time I got the right screen here. 10-year projection for Matic. Shane, I can't do that. That's too long. Can't do a 10-year projection. Who knows if they're going to still be around in 10 years or if anything else replaces Matic in 10 years. Hopefully Ethereum has solved scaling in 10 years. Do you still support Illuvium? I do, but I don't know what's going on with their game, so I gotta see if their game comes out. But, you know, whatever they had before looks pretty darn good. Well backed, and the founders are brothers of the person who started some other well-known project. So they definitely have the experience in the family. So you gotta wait until the game comes out. Rich, always positive. Ride the wave in DCA, my friends. That is the right attitude. Right attitude. 4-year cycle usually doesn't take 2 years to hit bottom, doesn't it? Yes and no. But the 4-year cycle has been disrupted. So we never had that blow off top. And we never fell down to where we were supposed to, which is like minus 85%, right? So, I mean, the 4-year cycle over time is going to basically go away. And we're already seeing that because as the market gets bigger, as more institutions and people just get involved, right? And of course, there's macro conditions, stuff like that to worry about. So, yeah, so I think the 4-year cycle, I mean, the next one is coming 2024, right? So can we still get a boost from it? Yes, because the supply is decreasing in half, right? But the notion that, oh, okay, Bitcoin has to fall down 85% before it starts recovering because retail FOMO is in like before, right? It's not going to be the same as before because the market has changed drastically, especially since Bitcoin just doesn't lead the market anymore. You know, back in those days, Bitcoin, 70% dominance, 75% dominance, 80% dominance, right? But look at right now. Bitcoin dominance is below 40%, 39.9% if you look right on top over here. That is really low, right? And that's because that's not Bitcoin's fault. It's because altcoins, right, like ETH and others have been gaining strength and there's more utility from them. So, again, the 4-year cycle, is it disrupted because of that? I think so. Let's see. What else did I miss here? Love your show. Watch every day. Thank you. This morning, I don't know if you guys saw, I've been reading a lot about shorts and not reading, but hearing and watching stuff about shorts. YouTube is really trying to push shorts to compete with TikTok. But anyways, this morning I posted a short of something I did for Polygon. And I didn't turn notifications on, so most of you guys probably didn't see it, but it's still doing well. But if you guys enjoy short videos, I may turn on notifications in the future. I have most of them running on my Clips channel, but I may move some of that here to the main channel. But for now, I'm going to experiment more on these shorts videos on this channel, but I won't turn on notifications just to see how they do. Joshua, I love it when you share your thoughts. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. Centralized exchanges versus DEXs, thoughts. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to control your own crypto, you want to trade from your own wallet, use a DEX, right? DEXs were not usable before because there was not enough trading pairs, not enough liquidity. That has changed. You could pretty much trade everything on a DEX, although for some of the smaller coins, still low volume, right? Centralized exchanges, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Most people use it. Coinbase, Robinhood, Gemini, Binance, right? Most of the volume is still on centralized exchanges. I don't know if that's ever going to change, because it's just so darn convenient and they have the most volume. So maybe one day it'll change, but not anytime soon. What do you think about Jump Crypto helping Sol with their infrastructure and scaling? I actually didn't hear about that. I mean, as far as I know, Solana's infrastructure was really just hammered by bot attacks, spam attacks. A lot of their problems was due to that. So, and that's because they were basically feeless. And, you know, they were talking about fixing that. But then recently there's been other stuff like the time being off on the network and stuff like that, which is pretty bad. You know, so I don't quite know if you know, if it's fundamentally broken or there's just a lot of rushed code. Like I reported a video yesterday to reacts to Charles Hoskinson talking about Vassal, right? A lot of commotion about that. The SPO's not happy about not having another testnet, you know, stuff like that. But they're very careful, right? But people pick on Cardano because they're not done. You know, they're like, when are they going to get done? Are the endless delays, right? But they didn't have any network outages yet either. So, you know, you have to kind of choose, right? Which one, or maybe you got to find it in between, basically. Alexander, I always thought Telcoin was interesting because they're in remittance. You know, they started with Europe, sending to Africa, then they expanded to America. They bought a bank and, you know, sending remittance service to Africa and Europe. You know, they were doing very well, but recently I've not heard anything about them. I don't know if their volume has increased, if anyone's still using them for that reason, but yeah, I mean, the concept is good, but I don't really know how many people are using them for that service. Crypto Commons. I'll just go search Telcoin. Where are they now? Wow. Whew. They were multi-billions, man. They were multi-billions, and they have dropped below 100 million. They really have died. They really have died. So I don't know if anyone's really using them for remittance service. Thoughts on Dash? I've never been a big fan of Dash because they're in the, you know, privacy field, and I think they're going to be delisted from a lot of exchanges in the future. Do you think Voyager customers will get their crypto back? Unlikely. Maybe a little bit, but not everything. Will YouTube create a crypto tipping feature? That would be nice, but I don't know. I don't know. Charles last night said he played the heck out of Diablo 2. Really? I love Diablo 2. I wasted so many years playing Diablo 2. Blizzard used to make the best games. I don't know what happened. I don't know if anyone... I never played Overwatch. You know, I don't know if that's even popular, but man, StarCraft, Diablo, World of Warcraft. I never played any of the Warcraft games. Never got into Warcraft, so I can't say I really enjoyed Warcraft. But StarCraft, Diablo, man, those are good games. Iguana, I know that you know you think you're smart for saying that, but just yesterday I talked about the whole debacle about Cardano and what's happening with their failed testnet and so forth, right? So I know that you're trying to pump your own bags, but don't spread that shit here. And you're gone from this channel. Let's see. I beat Ball in hell with all the characters in D2. I did that too, but you don't really live until you play hardcore mode. And then you don't really live until you try trap TPs. Those were fun days. Hardcore mode was really hardcore. Have I sold any crypto in the last 6 months? No. Mostly buying. Well, I did trade a few. Made some trades. So if you count that as selling, I guess. But mostly it's just been DCAing. The people at Blizzard are now different people. I assume so. Now they got bought out by Activision. So, and Activision, Blizzard just got bought out by Microsoft. So, yeah, I don't know where they're heading. What happened to crypto? What happened to Cardano? Watch my videos from yesterday, man. You'll get caught up. I used to sell Stone of Jordans I made on eBay. I had a few of those. The hacked Stone of Jordans that gave way too many attributes. You think Draymond Green is worth a max contract? No. Hell no. Draymond Green is a shell of himself. Warriors need to just dump him. All right. Draymond Green on any other team would not even be an all-star. Wouldn't even make it to all-defensive team. That system made him. And for some years, he was good. But now he's over the top. No way worth a max. They need to give it to Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is like the future of the Warriors. Can Matic have a run like Sol? Yes, it's possible. It's possible. I hope you sold a majority of sports card in peak last year. No, I have them all. You know, the high-end cards, like I was saying, the example of my friend, high-end cards don't go down because there's so little of it. So you don't see them move. You don't know the price is going down because if there's 10 in the world and no one's selling, then no one's selling, right? So the one thing I've learned from my friend, and this is true with all investments, you don't get fearful when good stuff goes down. It will always go down unless you just want to be a trader. But when you're an investor, you go live through up and downs. And the same thing with cards. They will come back up just like everything else. As long as, you're holding on to good ones, right? And if you're holding on into a Jordan rookie, a LeBron rookie, a Steph rookie, Giannis rookie, these guys, they're rookies, especially the rare ones, they're not coming down. Rare boxes of cards not coming down. I still have cases of boxes that have not come down. So yeah. So, with the card industry, it's even more niche, way more niche than even NFTs. And the people within, they're all anonymous. You don't know who owns what, really. So very rarely do you see like some big card drop on the market. Wrap coins versus native. Of course, native. Wrap coins is a synthetic version. It's a copy, really. So would you rather hold a copy or would you rather hold the real thing? Better Call Saul React video. I always go do it, but, it's like, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do a React video on that. I could give an opinion video on it, but, like, man, I don't know. I didn't like the ending all that much. I liked it, and then it got bad. Like the first half of the season finale was fantastic, and then it just went bad. Think I'll sell them for $500 a pair in a month. Which one are you looking at? Kevin Durant is the new Kyrie. I don't know. Kevin Durant will be traded. I just don't know. Like, he and Kyrie are like the softest players in the league. Softest superstars in the league. Let's just put it that way. So I don't know what's going to happen with him. Look at Block Lords, not live yet. I mean, that just sounds horrible already. So I'm assuming it's some kind of game. Yeah. So all right, I'll be nice and look at it. Be part of the most ambitious strategy game of our age. Choose your path. Okay. Build your legacy. Develop your lands. Rule the lands. Okay. Pictures look cool. Animoca Brands is involved. They're big, obviously, in any gaming and NFTs. Immutable X. I'm assuming this is on Immutable X. And a few others. Okay. Doesn't look bad. But here's the thing. There's a lot of games over the last few years that have shown a lot of previews like this, right? Really cool previews. Yet none of those games are out. Not one. Someone asked about Luvium. Luvium has been in development for 2-3 years now. So I guess we'll see if it actually comes out. Oh, man, my nose is itchy. And BlackRock 20... Okay, that's... No. I did. I watched Dragon Ball Superhero yesterday with my 2 kids, who I told you guys started liking Dragon Ball. It was actually pretty enjoyable. It's a very different kind of, I guess, story arc. I think that's going to lead into what's going, like the next season of Dragon Ball Super. But there were some questions there. I did say the end scene credit, but I don't know if it's worth erupting. Maurice, thank you. You know, I was trying to explain to my kids because they haven't gone through Super yet. And they don't really explain it. But, you know, if you look at the power... Okay, I'm going to geek out a little bit. But if you look at a power level of, like, Piccolo, would be, like, right here. And then, you know, you look at Gohan Super Saiyan, it's probably, like a mile above Piccolo. So if this is Piccolo, this is Gohan. And then you look at Goku and Vegeta, their power levels is, like, to the moon. Like, it's not even close. Like, it's nowhere close. So it's kind of funny in the movie they show like Piccolo powering up and somehow he could keep up. I mean, he cannot. He's nowhere close to their levels. And even Gohan powered up would be nowhere close to Goku or Vegeta. And if Goku or Vegeta was actually in the film, they would destroy the main villain, who I'm not going to say who it is. They would destroy him in 1 second, a millisecond. It wouldn't even be a challenge. So the whole thing was a little silly in that aspect. The power levels are just like convoluted all the time. Should I hang on to my Arweave? Yeah, I think Arweave will do well. I think it will come back. As a decentralized storage play, it's a good one. The Zamatsu, that's a good arc. That we're getting into that Goku Black right now. I'm watching that with the kids. That's a good arc. That was the darkest part of the series, and I really actually like that. It was smart for them not to focus on Goku and Piccolo, Goku and Vegeta. They kept on Whales nice to focus on side characters. Honestly, I didn't really all that care for it. I thought it was interesting that the kids have grown up. But, you know, to be honest, I don't really care about having a movie about Piccolo or Gohan. I just want to see how much Goku and Vegeta could power up, whether or not they're at Whis level already, or whether or not they could destroy, they're above Beerus level, right? Like, I want to see how strong they really are. So that's just me. Are you George from Athens, Greece? No. No, but I'd like to visit Athens, Greece one day. Magic Craft? Never heard of that. I think DEXs can be banned like Tornado Cash due to anti-money laundering issues. You know, I won't say no to that. They could. But whether or not they will, I don't know. I don't know. If they do support, you know, privacy features that hide the transactions and swaps, then possibly. But we're not there yet. You know, I remember, I don't know, some of you guys remember this. Like when Tornado Cash was just coming out, I was on Rand's show, Crypto Banter, and he was like, talking about it like hardcore, like he was like all into Tornado Cash, and he asked me about it. I'm like, it's something that I'm not gonna get into because I just don't see how the government's gonna allow it to, you know, to operate. The governments will hate it because of all the reasons they recently shut it down for, right? And I'm like, I'm not gonna get into that. So I kind of knew that already. If you just think about what Tornado Cash was doing, there's no way that governments will allow it. And they don't like it at all, and they just shut them down, right? Not to say that, you know, not to say that's a good thing, not to say that I agree with it, how it should be shut down, but you just apply logic to it. The governments do not want any service that hides transactions, especially utilizing cryptocurrency, and, you know, that's the reality of it. DXY is losing strength. Let's see if that, I don't know. I mean, it lost a little bit of strength and then it came right back up, right? The DXY gaining strength is good and bad. Mostly bad short term for tech and crypto, but good on the long term because it shows that the economy is not nearly as bad as people think, and I guess other currencies and other economies that are compared to the U.S. economy is doing worse. So I guess that's also bad. So I don't know. The DXY is very complicated. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Broly. He should be non-canon, but they're going to make him canon now, especially after the movie. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, he just, like, rose to the same level as Goku and Vegeta, like, in an instant. And that's just not, that's not right. And it just doesn't make any sense. But we'll see what they do with him in the future. All right, guys. I'll let you guys go. Overall, you know what? What happened yesterday was very interesting. I connected the dots for you guys. So you guys decide whether or not that's the case. But overall, I know we're down a little bit. People are freaking out again. You know, stay strong, guys. We always go through this. We see up and downs. There's still a lot of volatility. There's still a lot of things going on, right? But we will get through this together. Have patience, hodl, and focus on the future. All right? Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys. Oh, I do have another video for you guys. The security video that I was going to do yesterday, that I was going to release yesterday, I will release today. So there will be another video this afternoon, and then, of course, tomorrow, same time, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.